So where does vibrato actually come from? Is it the shoulder, the elbow? Is it the wrist or the fingers? Many cellists assume hinging the elbow is the basic source of vibrato everywhere on the cello, but it isn't. It's surprising how rare it is to find a clear mechanical explanation. And this isn't a small detail, it's the foundation of the motion itself. It turns out vibrato is a position-dependent system. The primary muscle source changes as you move up and down the fingerboard. Once you see why, it'll completely change how you practice. But first, let's test it. Alright, so grab your cello and place your left hand in first position. The second finger is a good one to use for this test. Put it on the string, but don't press it down fully. Very, very light contact. For an even clearer demonstration, use a tennis ball. This removes the small passive movement of the fingers and the wrist, so we can focus on the primary muscle drivers of the vibrato motion. I'll demonstrate both. Now slowly polish an inch or two of the string, or roll your hand over the tennis ball. Either way you do it, pay close attention to what part of the arm is actually moving. Is your elbow opening and closing? Or is the motion coming from shoulder rotation? Use a mirror if you need to. So in low positions like this, you see that the shoulder rotation drives most of the motion. If you try to hinge the elbow here, the hand simply lifts off the string. So here's our first discovery. Elbow hinging cannot generate vibrato in lower positions. It's shoulder rotation. Now, move to a high position and repeat the same experiment. Polish the string again, or roll the tennis ball. So here, shoulder rotation becomes minimal, and elbow hinging actually generates the motion. If you try to use shoulder rotation, the hand just lifts off the string. So here's the second discovery. Shoulder rotation cannot generate vibrato in upper positions. What you just felt are the two ends of a vibrato source continuum. In lower positions, vibrato is primarily driven by shoulder rotation. In higher positions, it's primarily driven by elbow flexion and extension. Between these two extremes, both sources blend gradually. So now that we've discovered the difference, why does vibrato work like this? It comes down to how the hand moving along the string relates to the shoulder in different positions. So by definition, vibrato shortens and lengthens the string. That means the hand must move along the direction of the string, toward and away from the bridge. Now, when the shoulder rotates, the path of the hand is an arc around the shoulder, kind of like an orbit. On the other hand, when the elbow hinges, the hand moves toward and away from the shoulder. That distance increases and decreases. In lower positions, the direction of the string aligns more closely with an orbital path around the shoulder. If you like geometry, the string is a tangent to the hand's orbital path. That's why shoulder rotation makes vibrato feel more natural in lower positions. If you hinge the elbow here, the hand moves away from the shoulder, lifting it from the fingerboard. Check out this diagram that shows the hand's orbital path and how it more closely aligns to the string in lower positions. In higher positions, the geometry changes. There, the direction of the string aligns more with a straight line coming from the shoulder. Moving along the string increases and decreases that distance. So elbow flexing becomes the most natural way to create vibrato in upper positions. That's why if you use shoulder rotation in the upper positions, the hand's orbital path leaves the string immediately. You can see that in this diagram where it shows the direction of the hand with elbow hinging versus shoulder rotation in upper positions. In essence, the motion changes because the geometry changes. So what does this mean for how we practice? Since vibrato across the fingerboard depends on two distinct motion sources, it makes the most sense to practice or teach each source in isolation before blending them. If you're new to vibrato, you should start with shoulder rotation in lower positions. Collarbone vibrato is a great strategy to isolate this motion. Once you develop comfort and control there, allow the motion to shift naturally toward elbow-driven vibrato as you move up to higher positions. At this point, it makes sense to practice elbow-driven vibrato in isolation as well. By practicing each source in isolation first, you'll understand the physical sensations of the mechanics before blending them. It's like how string players often learn the left and the right hand independently before attempting them simultaneously. Even if it's interesting, why does knowing this matter at all? I mean, why do we need to understand the mechanics if plenty of people learn great vibrato without even acknowledging them? Let me flip that question a little bit. If people already learn vibrato without knowing the basic geometry, how much better and faster could people learn if they knew the mechanics? A car mechanic who understands how an engine works can diagnose problems at the source. I may be able to fix the same problem eventually through trial and error, but without the understanding, I'm just guessing. Vibrato is no different. When we understand which joints are moving and which muscle groups are driving the motion, we can learn vibrato soundly and refine it with precision. In upcoming videos, we'll examine many more facets of cello vibrato. I'm absolutely convinced that we're still discovering more efficient and expressive ways to learn and play the cello. If this was helpful, like the video and subscribe to The Worship Cellist so you don't miss future vibrato series videos. Happy practicing, and I'll see you in the next one.